to the New Canaan Code of Ethics. Frank Granito will have a look at your forecast and later on an Up Next Sports Update. And Donald Lang will join us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, state police intercepted a multi-million-dollar shipment of fentanyl on I-95 in Fairfield recently. Now, a trooper was monitoring northbound traffic on Interstate 95 September 30th when a 2017 Chevrolet Cruze with Connecticut plates sped by. That trooper pulled the car over by exit 21 in Fairfield and called for backup, including a narcotic-sniffing dog. Well, police said the driver, 19-year-old Isaiah Roman of Providence, Rhode Island, consented to let police open the trunk. Inside, police said they found 5.5 kilograms of fentanyl valued at about $6 million. Roman and his passenger, 21-year-old Ariana Spencer of Cranston, Rhode Island, were both charged with sale of narcotics and possession of narcotics. Roman was being held in lieu of a $500,000 bond, while Spencer later posted bond. Well, in other news, the Connecticut Post reports that statues of Christopher Columbus were vandalized in Norwalk, Bridgeport, Middletown, and New Haven in what police say may have been an action coordinated by an anarchist group. Photos of some of the damage were taken by the Connecticut Post. Now, on the eve of the holiday honoring the Italian explorer, blood red paint was thrown across 3 of the statues. Only Norwalk's statue escaped the red paint, but it had fake news emblazoned on the base. In Bridgeport, where a larger-than-life Columbus statue stands tall in the seaside park looking south towards the sea, the red paint was accompanied by the words, "Kill the colonizer." Police departments around the state and country have been working together after learning that an anarchist group was advocating widespread vandalism against Columbus monuments, according to Bridgeport Police Chief Armando Perez. And in other news, the Hartford Courant reports that former Governor John G. Rowland will have his second federal prison stunt term cut short. Now, the 60-year-old twice-convicted felon will be released from federal prison on May 27, 2018, after serving about 19 months of what is supposed to be a 30-month sentence. Now, federal prison officials would not comment on why Rowland's release date has changed. It is possible that Rowland would serve part of his sentence in a halfway house. Now, the former 3-term governor was found guilty in September 2014 of campaign fraud, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. U.S. District Judge Janet Von Aretin sentenced him to 30 months in prison, but allowed him to remain free on bond while appealing. Well, he reported to prison in September 2016 after exhausting the appeals process. Rowland tried but failed to consult for congressional candidate Mark Greenberg back in 2010. 2 years later, he went to work for candidate Lisa Wilson Foley. Rowland claims he was a campaign volunteer and was being paid for business consulting under a contract with Brian Foley, the candidate's husband. Now, a jury agreed with prosecutors that the contract with Brian Foley was a ruse to hide Rowland's position as a paid campaign staffer. And in other news, Connecticut state troopers are investigating a road rage shooting incident that took place on I-95 southbound exit 36 off-ramp in Milford last Thursday. On October 5th at approximately 5:15 p.m., an unknown person discharged a handgun from their vehicle, striking another vehicle while traveling in the area of exit 36. It's believed the incident may have originated anywhere between I-95 southbound exit 41 to 36. Now, anyone who thinks they may have witnessed that incident or have information is asked to contact troopers at 203-696-2500. And a 2-car accident in New Canaan occurred Friday afternoon, October 6, on New Norwalk Road and Route 123 between Lakeview Avenue and Hoyt Farm Road, causing heavy damage to the vehicles and some possible injuries. Now, 2 persons were transported to Norwalk Hospital by New Canaan Volunteer Ambulance Corps, though the occupants of the 2 cars appeared to be out and walking around shortly after the crash. Now, on one of the cars, a late model BMW, all airbags appeared to have been deployed. The other vehicle, a pickup truck, suffered heavy damage to the driver's side. New Canaan Fire, Police, and Volunteer Ambulance responded to the scene. And last Friday, the Shelton Police Department arrested 64-year-old David Pollitt of 264 River Road, Shelton, and charged him with failure to register as a sex offender. That arrest stems from him moving back to Connecticut from Georgia and failing to register on the Connecticut Sex Registry. Now, police say Pollitt has a lifetime registration requirement. All right, we're going to switch gears now. Throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. As we are seeing partly sunny skies today, very warm out as well, but it's not as humid as we've come to know. So just natural temperatures, a high of 78. That's what it's going to feel like. We'll see some light winds around 6 to 8 miles per hour before partly cloudy skies overnight and mild conditions. A little bit of afternoon rain coming in tomorrow, a high of 72, not as warm out, and then we'll see maybe a passing shower again later on in the day. Mostly cloudy skies though from dawn until dusk. Clouds will start to break overnight. We could see a shower in the later hours that carries into Thursday morning, but by the end of your morning commute tomorrow, we should see partly sunny skies, a high of 66, a little breezy out there with wind gusts around 15 miles per hour, low of 49 on Thursday night, and partly cloudy skies as we head towards this weekend. That's going to do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, Donald Eng will join us to take a look back on this day in history. We have your Nutmeg Sports Update and some more local news after this. We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all, from Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? Skep Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, skepchryslerjeep.com or skepdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Now through October 31st.
At Black Horse Garage, we fulfill all your sports car needs. We specialize in manufacturer-recommended service and aftermarket high-performance parts and installation. We have one of the nation's top storage facilities and offer a high-end collision department that understands your need for detail. Visit blackhorsegarage.com for more.
The Kitchen Center offers quality cabinetry and affordable pricing. Visit our showroom for a free consultation with our professional design staff. For all your other home improvement needs, visit Northeast Building Supply, our full-service lumberyard and window showroom. The Kitchen Center, a division of Northeast Building Supply, 1470 Barnum Avenue, Bridgeport.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering. Welcome back to this October 10th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Eng to get a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, it's one of those days where the world got a little bit smaller, actually quite a bit smaller. But first, though, we go back to 732, all the way back. At the Battle of Tours, a Frankish force commanded by Charles Martel defeats an army of the Umayyad Caliphate between Poitiers and Tours in western France. I suspect that painting is a little bit stylized. Now, the name Martel literally means the hammer, but no one called Charles by that name while he was alive. He was simply Charles, Duke and Prince of the Franks. But 9th century scholars interpreted the battle as divine judgment in his favor against the Moorish invaders, and retroactively bestowed upon him the greatest nickname in history, Charles the Hammer, a century after his death. To 1871 now, the Great Chicago Fire finally burns out, although it would be too hot really for any kind of investigations for days to come. Now, while it is true that the first building reported consumed by the fire was a shed next to the O'Leary barn at 137 Tacovin Street, the cause of the fire was never conclusively determined. It did spread rapidly due to the city's wood construction, and many buildings had tar and shingle roofs. The O'Leary property now houses the Chicago Firefighter Academy. 1957. President Dwight Eisenhower issues an apology to K.A. Gdema, the finance director of Ghana, after that official had been refused service at a Dover, Delaware Howard Johnson's. Gdema had actually hosted Martin Luther King Jr. 6 months earlier as the new country was celebrating its independence. The return visit did not go so well. Gdema would be exiled from Ghana after criticizing his country's financial policy, but win election to Parliament in 1969. He would then retire when the country's Supreme Court ruled that a person who was officially exiled could not then be elected to national government. Finally, now we go to 1913, and the vintage newsreel had a bit of an issue, but you would be looking at footage of workers packing dynamite into the Gamboa Dike. Now, it was just a few feet wide, but in 1913, it was the last remaining land separating the waters of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans in Panama. Its demolition essentially completed the Panama Canal. Currently, believe it or not, 14,000 ships annually traverse the canal. It takes about 8 hours, but it saves 8,000 miles versus traveling around the tip of South America. The toll is on a sliding scale. The largest cruise ships and tankers pay upwards of $300,000 to use the canal, but the average is more like $54,000. The lowest ever fare, 38 cents for American Richard Halliburton, who swam the canal in 1928. That is your look back in history for today, October 10th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Your mention of the Great Chicago Fire made me flash back to a book I had to read in elementary school. So that poor cow was blamed for a lot.
I know. The cow is a scapegoat, which kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, in New Canaan, a new code of ethics for officials and employees of the town and Board of Education has been posted for public comment, and a public hearing on that proposed code and a vote by the town council are scheduled for October 18th, 7 p.m. at Town Hall. Now, key provisions of the Code of Ethics include avoiding performance of one's duty when there's a conflict of interest, acceptance of gifts and the possibility that those could influence one's performance of a job, and not using a town position to gain political support or give a political reward or for any personal gain. Now, regarding gifts, the new code would recognize that there are gift policies at the Police Department and Board of Education, and the Ethics Board would retain the power to find an otherwise permissible gift to be unethical if it determines that such gift actually influenced a town official or employee in the performance of their duties. There's a lot more on that story at edcadvertiser.com. And this Thursday, a new episode of Straight Talk with Tracy airs on HAN and features a local organization started by two mothers that aims to help children and families facing mental health problems. Now, Randy Silverman, the co-founder and CEO of the Youth Mental Health Project, uses her personal experience with her child's mental health disorder to support others and raise awareness. Co-founded with Wendy Ward, the Youth Mental Health Project aims to lift the veil of silence and shame around mental health disorders in children and young people. Now, this Thursday at noon, Silverman and Straight Talk host Tracy Masella discuss Silverman's story and how the project works to empower parents and caregivers. You can watch that show October 12th at noon right here on the HAN network. And in other news, Milford's duck ponds are iconic features of the downtown area, but in past years, the ponds have grown a bit less attractive as material has built up from the bottom, nearly filling them in at some points. Now, the city plans to start dredging the ponds at the end of this month, something that hasn't been done in about 40 years. There are several reasons why it's vital to dredge the three city duck ponds, the one on North Street, the City Hall pond, and the pond behind Stonebridge Restaurant. There is a safety component. A wall at one of the ponds is deteriorating because of the buildup, according to Mayor Ben Blake. And more important, it's cheaper to dredge the ponds than to dredge the harbor, which is where the silt and debris flows along. Now, there's also the aesthetic reasons. Frank Matthews of Founders Way spoke at this month's Alderman meeting. He said in part that the jewels of the city now look like the cesspools of the city and are breeding grounds for West Nile virus and more. He strongly supported the idea of dredging. Now, Public Works Director Chris Saley said he planned to start with the Stonebridge and City Hall ponds because they might have small amounts of PCPs that will require a more costly disposal process. There's a lot more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And Darien High School Support Our Soldiers Group and Darien's Monuments and Ceremonies Commission will be collecting for the annual Wreaths Across America held in December, and they'll be at Goodwives Shopping Center on Saturday, October 14th from 9 to 1 p.m. and on Sunday, October 15th from 10 to 3 at the Norotan Heights Stop and Shop. On Saturday, October 21st, sponsorships will be collected as well at Darien Donut from 9 to 11 in the morning, at Goodwives Stop and Shop from 9 to 1, and on Sunday, October 22nd at Norotan Heights Stop and Shop from 10 to 12:30. Now, last year, wreaths covered all 2,184 graves in the veterans section of the Spring Grove Cemetery. The public is encouraged to purchase wreath sponsorships, and all are invited to help in that ceremony in December. Wreaths start at $15 each and can be ordered directly from Wreaths Across America, and you can get that information darien.times.com. All right, let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now and get your Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. We talked a little bit yesterday about Ridgefield's big win Friday night against Staples in a matchup featuring two of the top 10 teams in the state. Well, we've got highlights from that Tigers win. Let's take a look at how they came away with the 24-20 victory.
Ball at the 31.
When we saw Gatto last year, he was more of a runner, but he's showing, he'll stand in the pocket and throw it.
Give to Schwartz. Schwartz runs into a pile. No! Excuse me. Gatto pulled it back. Gatto kept it up the left side, and he's run down from behind. Stopped at the 25. Touchdown saving tackle for the Wreckers. Ridgefield, two receivers to each side. Dropping back is Gatto. Gatto goes deep. He has a man, and he's got space. Run down from behind by Lombardo. That was Jackson Mitchell. Gatto with the snap. Throws. He's got a man open, and there's the touchdown by Jackson Mitchell. I'm sorry. And Ridgefield's converted on its first two possessions. Jet motion. Fake jet. Thompson keeps and lunges into the end zone for the touchdown. And Staples is on the board with 5:26 to go.
Correct myself there. I was giving Hamilton credit last time instead of Schneider.
Attempted a reverse there, and it's just gone bad. It's Thompson with the throw. Wide open! Wide open is Kevin Raybacks. Raybacks coming up the left side. Diving is Gatos. He can't do it.
Just the way they drew it up there.
A little bit of trickery there. And Staples takes a big chunk out of this Ridgefield lead. One back, fakes the give, ball is lofted and caught just inside the end zone by Luke Gatos. Gatos just barely over the goal line, brings it in, and Ridgefield takes the lead. 1st and 10, Staples, they're down 4. Thompson backpedals, throws up a long one, and what a catch! Bringing it down is the Jake Thaw, the sophomore. Thompson rolls right. He's looking for a receiver. He's looking. He's under pressure. He tries to run, takes a big hit, and it's going to be turned over on downs. That's probably going to do it.
So Ridgefield and Staples both now sit 3-1. The road does not get much easier. The Tigers will travel to take on St. Joe's this weekend, and the Wreckers will host Darien. And of course, we are getting ready for our big matchup on Saturday afternoon. You're going to see Greenwich and New Canaan battling it out. Two teams right now that are in the top 10 of the writers' polls. If you want to learn more about this matchup, check out the HAN On Demand page. We've got both of the Greenwich-New Canaan games from the last 2 seasons. And of course, we're going to be at Staples on Friday night for that game against Darien as well. Big shout out to the Ridgefield girls soccer team who came away with a 2-0 win over St. Joe's yesterday in a rematch of the FCX Championship. Claire Middlebrook and Emma Langus scoring the goals for the Tigers. Want to also give a shout out to Coach Angelo Singliotis and the Brian McMahon Senators taking home the Norwalk Cup. They beat Norwalk 4-1 last night. And of course, yesterday's field hockey FCX Championship rematch between Wilton and Staples, which was postponed, will be played this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Kevin Coleman will get you ready for that on Nutmeg Sports at 2. For now, though, we'll go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following today on your coffee break after this.
Voted Best Gourmet to Go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
Bankwell combines the best personalized service with high-tech banking features for our customers' convenience. We pride ourselves on being a strong community partner. You don't settle for average in anything else you do. Why settle for an average bank? Don't just bank when you can bank well instead. Visit mybankwell.com for more. Manfredi New Canaan is celebrating 3 exceptional years selling Rolex watches and fine jewelry to the Fairfield County community. We appreciate all our loyal clients and look forward to welcoming and helping you discover the perfect gift to celebrate life's most important occasions.
At In Sports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The In Sports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Welcome back to this Tuesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. State police intercepted a multi-million-dollar shipment of fentanyl on I-95 in Fairfield recently. Now, police say a trooper was monitoring northbound traffic on Interstate 95 on September 30th when a 2017 Chevrolet Cruze with Connecticut plates sped by. The trooper pulled the car over by exit 21 and called for backup, including a narcotic-sniffing dog. Police said the driver, 19-year-old Isaiah Roman of Providence, Rhode Island, consented to let the police open the trunk. Inside, police say they found 5.5 kilograms of fentanyl valued at about $6 million. Roman and his passenger, 21-year-old Ariana Spencer of Cranston, Rhode Island, were both charged with sale of narcotics and possession of narcotics. Roman was being held in lieu of a $500,000 bond, while Spencer later posted bond. And the Connecticut Post reports that statues of Christopher Columbus were vandalized in Norwalk, Bridgeport, Middletown, and New Haven in what police say may have been an action coordinated by an anarchist group. Photos of some of the damage were shared by the Connecticut Post. Now, on the eve of the holiday honoring the Italian explorer, blood red paint was thrown across 3 of the statues, including that one there. Only Norwalk statue escaped the red paint, but it had fake news emblazoned on its base. Now, in Bridgeport, where a larger-than-life Columbus stands tall in Seaside Park looking south toward the sea, the red paint was accompanied by the words, "Kill the colonizer." Police departments around the state and country have been working together after learning that an anarchist group was advocating widespread vandalism against Columbus monuments, that according to Bridgeport Police Chief Armando Perez. And the Hartford Courant reports that former Governor John G. Rowland will have his second federal prison term cut short. The 60-year-old, twice-convicted felon will be released from federal prison on May 27, 2018, after serving about 19 months of what is supposed to be a 30-month sentence. Federal prison officials would not comment on why Rowland's release date has changed. The Courant says it is possible that Rowland would serve part of his sentence in a halfway house. Now, the former 3-term governor was found guilty in September 2014 of campaign fraud, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. U.S. District Judge Janet Bond-Arreton sentenced him to 30 months in prison, but allowed him to remain free on bond while appealing. Rowland reported to prison in September 2016 after exhausting the appeals process. Rowland tried but failed to consult for congressional candidate Mark Greenberg back in 2010. 2 years later, he went to work for candidate Lisa Wilson Foley. Rowland claims he was a campaign volunteer and was being paid for business consulting under a contract with Brian Foley, the candidate's husband. But a jury agreed with prosecutors that the contract with Brian Foley was a ruse to hide Rowland's position as a paid campaign staffer. And Connecticut state troopers are investigating a road rage shooting incident that took place on I-95 southbound exit 36 off-ramp in Milford last Thursday. On October 5th at about 5:15 p.m., an unknown person discharged a handgun from their vehicle, striking another car while traveling in the area of exit 36. It is believed the incident may have originated anywhere between I-95 southbound exit 41 to 36. Anyone who thinks they may have witnessed the incident or may have any information is asked to contact police at 203-696-2500. And a 2-car accident in New Canaan occurred Friday afternoon, October 6th, on New Norwalk Road and Route 123 between Lakeview Avenue and Hoyt Farm Road, causing heavy damage to the vehicles and some possible injuries. 2 persons were transported to Norwalk Hospital by New Canaan Volunteer Ambulance, though the occupants of the 2 cars appeared to be out and walking around shortly after that crash. One of the cars, a late model BMW, had all airbags appeared to have been deployed. The other vehicle, a pickup truck, suffered heavy damage to the driver's side. New Canaan Fire, Police, and Volunteer Ambulance all responded to the scene. And last Friday, the Shelton Police Department arrested 64-year-old David Pollitt of 264 River Road, Shelton, and charged him with failure to register as a sex offender. Now, the arrest stems from him moving back to Connecticut from Georgia, and police say failing to register on the Connecticut Sex Offender Registry. Police say that Pollitt has a lifetime registration requirement. All right, let's take one final look at the forecast with Frank Granito. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And again, we're looking at a warm and partly sunny afternoon coming our way. Temperatures in the upper 70s, maybe reaching into the low 80s. Won't be as humid as we have seen the past couple of weeks. A light breeze around 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies coming overnight and mild conditions with a low of 59. Some afternoon rain is on the way for tomorrow. Mostly cloudy through the morning, not as warm out. Temperatures in the low 70s, a high of only 72, and then a possible passing shower or two in the early afternoon and into the evening. Clouds starting to break later on, though. You could see one more shower overnight with a low of 54. Thursday, though, rain should be cleared out by the time you start your morning commute. Some sun throughout the day, a high of 66 with a light breeze between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy overnight and a low of 49 as we head for the weekend. That's going to do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We are going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. Nutmeg Sports coming up at 2 o'clock, and we will see you tomorrow for your coffee break at 11. Have a great day.